So today we've got a demonstration for you of the Jive Mobile Advisor contact center integration. Just to give a quick rundown of how the demonstration is going to proceed, we're going to show the same call from two perspectives, starting out from the perspective of a Cisco Electronics customer who is shopping for a new home projector, and they navigate to the Cisco Electronics Jive page to find out more information or to get recommendations on a projector before they buy one. Once they've made a posting on the Cisco Electronics Jive page requesting assistance, a social media moderator from Cisco Electronics sees that post and attempts to direct that customer to their website for more information. At which point the call escalates to chat, voice, video, and screen sharing. So the first run through will be that scenario from the customer's perspective, and then we'll stop and we'll reset the call and show the same thing from the agent's perspective, showing all the tools that we've enabled for the agent to be able to have insight into the customer's browsing history and desires. So on your screen, you should see a Jive place for the imaginary electronics retailer, Cisco Electronics. So as the customer, what you're seeing right now, I have navigated to this Jive place in search of more information on my projector or for a projector to buy. So I'll start by just looking under the projectors section of the Jive place and posting a discussion and asking my peers for more information on any projectors that they might recommend. So I've posted this in the Cisco Electronics place, and I will go about my business, awaiting a response. And in the meantime, in the background, Cisco Electronics has a social media moderator that monitors their Jive place and looks for questions that have gone unanswered by the Jive community and steps in to assist wherever needed. So right now we've got our agent Pat, who is going to be playing the role of the agent today, and he is answering my question in the background. The social media moderator for Cisco Electronics has posted a reply to my discussion, attempting to direct me towards more information on the Cisco Electronics website for projectors. So when the moderator replies to my discussion, I get an email informing me that Patrick Riley, who is the moderator for Jive, has responded to my discussion. So I can just click through on the link to view more, to view the response. So I see here, I've got it pulled up, and here's my original post, and I see that Patrick says, "Hey, Brad, you can visit our website for more information here," and he's included a link. So I'm going to click through this link and look for more information on projectors. So what's happened now is I've been directed over to the Cisco Electronics web portal. What's important to note is that in the background, my Jive credentials have carried over with me into the Cisco Electronics web portal, so that when I'm browsing their website, the analytics engine and the analytics engine has access to all of my Jive history, to all of my data, and it kind of has some insight into my likes, dislikes, and browsing tendencies and preferences. So again, in the background, the analytics engine is running, and it's detected that I've been on this page for a certain interval with no activity, and it suspects that I'm having some difficulty in finding the information that I'm looking for. So it proactively pops up a chat request and asks me if I'd like to speak with an agent. So I'm going to go ahead and say yes, I'd like to talk to an agent. So my chat request is routed into UCCE and is waiting in queue for a chat agent to become available. So my chat request is routed into UCCE and is queued waiting for a support agent to become available. So the agent Patrick has accepted my chat request, and our chat session has begun. So when we show the other side of this, when we show this interaction from the agent view, you'll see all of the tools that Patrick has available to him right now on his desktop to see a lot of information about who I am and why I'm calling. But for now, we just begin with a simple chat request. So I give him some information on why I'm calling. And Patrick responds using some of the information that he has at his disposal. He's able to see my shopping history with Cisco Electronics, and he's able to determine that I'm a high value customer that he might want to offer some special concierge services to. So he asks if I'd like to escalate to a video chat. So the video chat session appears on my screen, and we can see that we've got Patrick on the other side, the agent, and Patrick and I are now speaking in person. Hey, Patrick. Good. So the video chat begins with my camera off, disabled. So if I want to enable my video to send it to Patrick, I can select that, and now we have two-way video enabled. So now that we're chatting, I'm going to ask him, I'm telling him I'm looking for some information on projectors, and ask him, where I should look on the website to find some information. So he's going to ask me if I'd like to start a screen sharing session now, so he can help me co-browse to the appropriate location. And my browser prompts me for permission to share my screen out, and I go ahead and accept that. So at this point, Patrick and I are in a co-browse session, and he is able to see my screen, and he's able to control my screen. And he's going to navigate for me, and he's gonna take me to the home theater section of the Cisco Electronics page, where there's more information on projectors. Okay, so Patrick is going to navigate my browser over to the home theater section of the Cisco Electronics webpage, where he can show me more information on projectors. So, oh yeah, okay. I see. There's a couple of projectors here now, and yeah, I don't know. I'm curious. Which one do you think I might like? And so Patrick has some tools available to him right now where he can actually annotate. He can make drawings on my screen and point things out to me. And he shows me one projector, and I say maybe I've seen that projector. I'm not sure that's the one I want, and he circles that one, and I say, yeah, that's it. That's the projector I'm looking for. Do you have any more information available on that projector? So at this point, we've identified the projector that I may be interested in, and he has some tools available to him where he can push out documents to my screen, and he can share PDFs, he can share images. So he's pushing these documents out to my screen, and you can see he's pushed a helpful picture of the projector that I'm interested in buying today. So I say, yeah, Patrick, that's a good projector. That's kind of the one I've been looking for. I think we've nailed it. I'd like to talk about buying this projector from you. Say, maybe though I've got some credit problems, and I wonder if you might be able to transfer me over to your financing department so I can speak with a financing rep about getting a Cisco Electronics credit card. So I can close this out, and you can see I'm still on chat and video with Patrick. But at this point, he'll be able to transfer me just like any other UCCE call. He can transfer me over to a different queue where I can speak to a financing specialist. So Patrick has transferred me to a specialty agent that can help me with my finance questions. And as you can see, when I'm in queue, I've got a video in queue. So this video is customizable, and all of the context data associated with the call is available to UCCE during this queuing. So we can pick a specialized video that's relating to my question. So for this demo, we've chosen a video for a projector advertisement. So when another agent in the specialty skill becomes available, the call will route to that agent, and and you'll see that the second agent then has picked up the call and is able to assist the caller further with their financing questions. So that's the end of the agent side, or the customer side demo. We'll now switch over to Joe, who will illustrate what this demo looks like from the agent side and show you some of the tools that the agent has available to them.
Now we're going to walk through the demo once again, although this time we're going to focus on the agent side. We saw the demo from the customer side. We saw the customer experience. Now what we want to try to convey is the information that's shared about the customer to the agent and the other agents who pick up the call about who this customer is, so that an intelligent conversation can go on back and forth between the agent, whichever agent, and the customer. So as you recall, the customer was looking for a new projector. They created a new discussion. A Francisco rep replied to the discussion. The customer clicked through to the Francisco Electronics website. At some point in time, the customer decided that they wanted to chat. And when they do that, I'll show you now what the agent desktop looks like when the chat arrives at the agent site. So this is the agent's desktop within Finesse, and this is the dashboard that the agent uses to control the customer experience. You can see a number of different tools I've got on the dashboard here, and we're going to go through all of them, starting with the chat. However, just before we get started into these tools, let me just take a little bit of time out to show you the kind of information the agent has to learn more about who the customer is, a little bit about what the customer was trying to do, to try and derive in the agent's mind what this customer might be interested in, what a little bit of this customer's history is, so that an intelligent conversation can take place. So in order for me to do that, I switch over to the other dashboard within Finesse. And when I do that, we see a number of pieces of information about our customer. In this case, our customer is Brad Kaysen. Now keep in mind, all the information that we see on the dashboard is information that the customer has previously agreed to share with agents within the contact center. So for example, the customer has agreed to share a picture of him or herself, and that's what I see here. In addition to his name, some other account ID information, I also get to see some most recent activities of that customer. The way this works is the oldest activities are on the left, the newest activities on the right. So if you read into this, for example, I can tell that here on this activity, the customer did something about posting something about projector questions on Jive, and then they issued a chat. We are in the chat now. If I wanted to find out more about this post or this discussion that the customer was a part of, I could actually click on this. When I do that, I can actually see then as an agent the post, in this case it was a discussion, so it was the discussion that the customer started in order to get some more information about which projector to buy. As an agent, one thing I can do here is actually reply to this discussion thread. So as I feed the customer information, I can actually add it to the original discussion thread, and if others go looking for the same type of information, then they can read up on the information I shared, in this case with Brad, and that might be enough information for others to reach some type of conclusion without having to contact the contact center as well. Let's go back to our information dashboard. We've got some other analytics information in this area of the screen and throughout here that Dragon initially talked about in his slide presentation. In this section of the screen, I've got Brad's call history with the contact center, and you can see that October's been a very busy month for Brad in the contact center. And other information, other analytics information here that Dragon talked about in his slide presentation. Just below that, I get some information regarding the pages that Brad has visited in his browser. And once again, it's very similar to recent activities. I get oldest pages on the left, moving to newest pages on the right. So for example, if I wanted to see the actual page that Brad was on when he initiated the chat, I could actually click on this button, and this is the page then that comes up, which is the page that Brad was on when he initiated the chat. So now I know which page Brad was on just before he initiated the chat. I know the original discussion that he was on just before he initiated the chat. I get a little bit of history about what Brad is trying to do. In addition to that, I also get some more information that Brad has elected to share through Jive and his profile. I get an address. I can bring this up on Google Maps if I wanted to, and some other Jive profile information. In addition to that, I can also go into the Jive activities database, and I can see in this case over the last 7 days what some of his activities were as he worked within the Francisco Electronics Jive X site. This is showing me the last 7 days only because that's the number of days I requested here. I could request any number of days. But going on down the page, I also get trending content and trending places. This is just places that Brad was active in that trended with other social media participants. So this is the kind of information I get as an agent, as somebody who received the call so that I can have a more intelligent conversation with Brad. Now keep in mind, the whole point behind this is, excuse me, Brad's account information somewhat just comes over, it comes over across the line with his call into contact center so that anybody who gets involved with his call can have access to his information. Let's go back to our Francisco Agent desktop. This is once again the desktop that I use to control the customer experience. And I can chat down here in this section of the screen with Brad. If I do that, I can see that I send him messages. And if Brad happens to respond to one of these messages, you can see that the message comes back to me. I can tell that this is a message I sent. I can tell that this is a message I got from Brad, and so on and so forth. If you recall also, one of the things that Brad and I agreed on was that we were going to do a co-browse where I could control his screen and maybe direct him to a projector that might interest him. I did that through this section of the screen here. If I press this button, which sends a request down to Brad, then if he accepts that request, then I'll start getting an image of his screen. Once I get an image of his screen, as soon as he accepts it, then I can do things with this image. I can browse this image to other screen locations. So for example, I can show him the next chiclet on that screen. And as we get page updates now, it's because I'm changing his screen. I can browse him to the third chiclet on that page. And if you recall, I directed him to this home theater button because I know that this is the page where the projectors were, and this is the page he was having trouble locating, and which is why we started the co-browsing to begin with. Once I got Brad to this page, I used this tool to highlight this projector to ask Brad if this is one that he would be interested in. I mean, likewise, I could have chosen this projector. I could have cleared all these and pretty much done any type of artwork that I wanted to on this page. I could have made somewhat of an arrow, and all this comes up on Brad's screen. When we got to a projector that Brad seemed he was interested in, I pushed some additional information, in this case a more detailed picture of that projector down to his screen. When I do that, we can see the projector comes up on his screen, and of course I get it because I'm co-browsing his screen as we speak. Moving along in the demo, you recall that another thing that Brad and I did was we started voice and video on this call. So we escalated this chat session to voice and video. And I can do that over here on the top right section of the screen. If I press this send request button, then that sends a request down to Brad. And if he okays it, I just need to mute my side here so we don't get feedback. Okay. If he okays it, then all of a sudden he starts seeing a video of me, the agent, on his screen. And as soon as he then, in addition to okaying the video, he okays his camera, then I'll start seeing a video of him directly on my Cisco EX60 desktop. And I apologize, I can't show you that because that's directly on my EX60. It doesn't come up on the browser page. As an agent, I would be working with the hard phone, and the EX60 is my hard phone. But right now, so I can see an image, actually a video of Brad on my EX60, and he can see a video of me. And we also have audio back and forth. So even though we could continue the chat if we wanted to, but now we're just speaking audio back and forth. Those were the features that I had from an agent perspective to control Brad's browser experience, and also for the agent to get more information about who Brad is and maybe a little bit about what he was doing. If you recall, I can always go back to the original JiveX discussion and add as another reply the information that I shared with Brad. But let's just illustrate one more thing, if you recall, in the demo. One other thing that happened in the demo is that I transferred Brad to another agent. You know, it could have been somebody who knows more about this projector. It could have been somebody in financing. Nevertheless, whoever it is, it's just another agent, and this other agent would benefit from knowing a little bit about Brad's history and why the call was coming in. And so let's illustrate that now. In order for me to do that, I just do a direct transfer. In this case, I'm going to do that to a different skill group that will handle Brad's next request. When I do that, all of a sudden, I become ready for the next call. My dashboard goes back to ready. This information dashboard also disappears. I'm back to ready. I'm ready for another call now. Now, I'm going to bring up another browser screen here that is a different finesse agent in the different skill group. And as soon as I bring this agent ready, we will see that it'll pick up the call. And so as soon as I become ready, it does pick up the call. And once again, I see all this information about Brad. So now I'm a much more educated agent, and I can have a much more intelligent conversation with Brad, the customer, because I've got a dashboard of Brad's background and what he was trying to do. Remember, once again, in these recent activities, it all started with this projector discussion that he started. He moved that to a chat, and that got escalated to a call. And we can see those activities get reflected here. So now, as, let's say, the finance agent, I know what his activity, even on this specific call center call,